there, English learners and language lovers. Welcome, welcome. I'm Kim, and I'm so glad you're joining me today for something really fun. A dive into some of the most colorful, sometimes weird, but always interesting phrases in the English language. Idioms. They can feel a bit like a secret code when you first encounter them, but learning them is a fantastic way to sound more natural and truly understand native English speakers. Today, we're going to crack the code on 31 amazing idioms. We're covering a lot here, so feel free to pause the video whenever you need to take notes, or come back to it later if you need a break. Or, hey, just let it play in the background as your daily English listening practice. It's like giving your brain a snack while you chill. For each one, I'll tell you exactly what it means, share the fascinating story of where it might have come from, and then we're going to practice using it ourselves. Ready to add some real sparkle to your English? Let's jump right in. Once in a blue moon. Okay, raise your hand if you've heard someone say, "Oh, that only happens once in a blue moon." But what does that even mean? And why is the moon blue? Let's clear this up. So, once in a blue moon just means something happens super rarely, like maybe once every few years. Now, the origin is actually cool. This whimsical phrase refers to an actual astronomical event. A blue moon is when two full moons appear in the same calendar month, which only happens every 2 to 3 years. Over time, people started using blue moon to describe things that occur. Well, almost never. Try using this idiom in a sentence like this. I only eat fast food once in a blue moon. It's not very healthy. Or, here's another good example. My sister lives abroad, so we see each other once in a blue moon. A blessing in disguise. Ever had something bad happen, only to realize later it was actually the best thing for you? That's what a blessing in disguise is all about. At first, it might seem like bad luck, like getting rejected or failing at something, but then, boom, turns out it saved you or led to something even better. Life works in funny ways like that. And get this, the phrase isn't new. This phrase dates back to the 1700s. The idea is that sometimes what looks like a problem might actually be a gift, a blessing hiding in disguise as something else. It comes from an old poem that said, "Some evils are a blessing in disguise." Pretty wise, right? Try using it like this. Getting sick before my trip felt awful, but it was a blessing in disguise. My flight got canceled and I avoided a huge storm. Or, that breakup hurt, but it was a blessing in disguise because I met someone even better. The early bird catches the worm. The early bird catches the worm means that people who act early or arrive first have an advantage. It encourages being prompt, proactive, and not procrastinating. This saying is quite old and very literal. Imagine a bird that wants to find food. Worms are often found in the soft ground early in the morning before the sun dries the soil or other birds come out. So, the bird that wakes up and goes looking for food earliest is the one most likely to find a worm. It's a simple, natural observation that became a popular piece of advice. Let's see if we can incorporate this idiom into a sentence or two. Ready to give it a shot? She always gets the best deals at the market. Well, the early bird catches the worm. If you want front row concert tickets, be online when sales open. The early bird catches the worm. It takes two to tango. It takes two to tango means that two people are responsible for a situation, especially when something goes wrong. You can't blame just one person if both were involved. It takes both to make it happen. It can also mean that some actions or situations require two people working together, not just one. This idiom is relatively modern compared to some others, becoming popular in the mid-20th century, especially with a hit song from 1952 by Pearl Bailey and others. The origin is quite literal and direct. The tango is a dance that absolutely requires two partners working together. One person alone cannot perform the tango. Let's try and use this idiom in a sentence. Ready? Don't just blame Sarah for the argument. It takes two to tango. Starting a relationship is a mutual decision. It takes two to tango. They both agreed to the deal, so if it fails, it's not just on him. It takes two to tango. All that glitters is not gold. This idiom means that appearances can be deceiving, and something that looks attractive or valuable on the surface might not be so in reality. Just because something seems appealing or shiny doesn't mean it's truly good, worthwhile, or authentic. It's a warning to not be fooled by appearances. The phrase goes back to at least the 12th century, but the most famous version comes from William Shakespeare's play, The Merchant of Venice, 1596, where it's phrased as, "All that glisters is not gold." Over time, glisters changed to glitters, which is more commonly used today. Time to get creative and put this idiom in a sentence. Ready? Be careful with job offers that sound too good to be true. All that glitters is not gold. She bought the expensive-looking necklace, but it broke in a day. Just proves that all that glitters is not gold. Butterflies in your stomach. Ever felt nervous or anxious, especially before a big event? Instead of saying, "I'm nervous," you can say, "I have butterflies in my stomach" instead. Whether it's a first date, a job interview, or giving a speech, we've all been there. Fun fact, this phrase started buzzing around in the early 1900s. And honestly, it's way cuter than saying I'm anxious. Try it. I had butterflies in my stomach before my presentation. She gets butterflies in her stomach every time she sees her crush. Cry over spilled milk. Picture this. You knock over a glass of milk. It's everywhere. Do you A, clean it up, or B, sit there sobbing? If you picked B, you're crying over spilled milk. It means to waste time being upset about something that's already happened and can't be changed. This one's been around since the 1600s. Back then, milk was precious, but once it spilled, crying wouldn't unspill it. A classic reminder to move on. Today, we use it for anything from lost keys to missed opportunities. Let's use it in a sentence. Follow after me. Yes, you failed the test, but don't cry over spilled milk. Just study harder next time. I missed my flight, but no use crying over spilled milk. I'll book another one. The icing on the cake. Imagine biting into a perfect slice of cake. Now imagine it's also frosted with your favorite icing. That's the icing on the cake. The extra joy on top of something already great. This sweet phrase became popular in the 1900s to celebrate life's little bonuses. And honestly, we deserve more icing moments. Got a raise? Icing. Vacation got extended? Icing. Use it like this. Getting promoted was amazing, and the bonus pay was the icing on the cake. The concert was incredible, and meeting the band afterward was the icing on the cake. Through thick and thin. Real talk. Life isn't always cupcakes and rainbows. Sometimes it's burnt toast and thunderstorms. That's when you need someone who'll stand by you through thick and thin. The good, the bad, and the messy. This phrase is old. We're talking 1300s old, when thick meant dense forests and thin meant easy paths. Today, it's the ultimate loyalty test. It means sticking with someone or something no matter how hard things get. Let's use it in a sentence. Repeat after me. My best friend has supported me through thick and thin. They've stayed married for 50 years, through thick and thin. Under the weather. Want to sound fancy when you're sick? Say you're under the weather. No, you're not literally beneath a storm, though it might feel like it. This phrase likely comes from the sea. A popular theory is that it relates to sailors who are feeling seasick. They might be sent below deck to recover, where they would be literally under the deck and away from the harsh weather on top. So, how would you use this? You can say, I'm feeling a little under the weather today, so I might stay home from school. My colleague wasn't at work. I heard she was feeling under the weather. Speak of the devil. This is a very common phrase we use when the person you have just been talking about unexpectedly appears. Its origin is from a longer, older phrase. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. It was originally a superstitious warning against talking about evil or the devil, for fear of actually summoning them. Now, it's used playfully when someone shows up right as you mention them. Let's try using it. We were just talking about my friend Tom, and speak of the devil, here he is. Did my teacher mention the homework? Oh, speak of the devil, here she comes. Beat around the bush. To beat around the bush means to avoid talking about the main point or the important issue. You talk about everything except what you really need to discuss. This idiom comes from bird hunting. Hunters would literally beat the bushes or undergrowth to try and scare birds out so they could catch them. But this wasn't the direct act of catching. It was the action around the main goal. So talking around the main topic is like beating around the bush. How would you use this? Stop beating around the bush. Just tell me if I got the job. He kept beating around the bush instead of admitting he forgot my birthday. A dime a dozen. If something is a dime a dozen, it means it's very common and therefore not particularly special or valuable. And yes, a dime is a US coin worth 10 cents. This phrase comes from a time when certain goods or services were so plentiful and cheap that you could buy 12 of them, a dozen, for just 10 cents. A dime. Let's try using this one. Those keychains are a dime a dozen at tourist shops. People with basic computer skills are a dime a dozen these days. You need to specialize. Your guess is as good as mine. Raise your hand if you've ever been asked a question and thought, I have absolutely no idea. This simple phrase means just that. You can use it instead if saying, I don't know the answer. It means you are just as uncertain about the situation as the other person asking you. The phrase is said to be popularized in the 1940s in America as a casual way to admit ignorance. Ready to practice? Why did the meeting get canceled? Your guess is as good as mine. When will the rain stop? I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. Miss the boat. Picture this. You're sprinting toward the dock, luggage flying, only to see your cruise ship sailing away. That's missing the boat in action. It means to miss an opportunity or to be too late for something. Its origin is literally about missing boats in the 1800s when ship departures were critical for trade travel. By 1920, it became a metaphor for any missed chance. So how would you use this? You can say, I waited too long to apply and missed the boat on that scholarship. I wanted to apply for that job, but I didn't see the advertisement until after the deadline. I missed the boat. Hold your horses. This is a classic. Hold your horses means wait a moment, be patient, or slow down. Its origin is exactly what it sounds like. It comes directly from managing horses. Whether literally telling someone riding or driving a horse-drawn vehicle to rein in their horses and wait, or just as a general command to pause. Let's practice this fun idiom. I want to buy the first phone I see, but my friend said, hold your horses. Let's compare prices first. Hold your horses. Let me explain before you leave. Get out of hand. If a situation or a group of people gets out of hand, it means it becomes uncontrollable or difficult to manage. This idiom likely relates to managing animals, particularly horses. If a horse gets out of hand, it means the rider or handler has lost control of it. This idea was then applied to situations or human behavior. Ready to use it? The meeting started calmly, but it got out of hand when people started shouting. We need to resolve this issue quickly before the situation gets out of hand. Cut corners. To cut corners means to do something in the easiest, cheapest, or fastest way, often by skipping steps, reducing quality, or not being thorough. This phrase likely comes from the literal idea of taking the shortest path, like cutting across a field instead of following the road, or turning a corner sharply. While sometimes it just means being efficient, the idiom usually implies doing something improperly or compromising quality or ethics to save effort or money. Let's practice using this one. Our company got into trouble because they cut corners on safety regulations. I don't like to cut corners when I'm studying. I want to learn everything properly. Bite off more than you can chew. If you bite off more than you can chew, you're trying to do too much. You've undertaken a task or responsibility that is too big or too difficult for you to handle successfully. For example, when you volunteer to organize a wedding, learn Portuguese, and train for a marathon all in 1 month, you've bitten off more than you can chew. The origin is simple and literal. Imagine putting too much food in your mouth at once. You literally can't chew it all. How about we use this one? I volunteered for too many committees. I think I bit off more than I can chew. He tried to fix the car himself, but now it's a bigger mess. He definitely bit off more than he could chew. Go the extra mile. To go the extra mile means to make a special effort, to do more than is expected or required. This phrase is often linked to a very old teaching, found in the Bible. In the Sermon on the Mount, it's suggested that if someone forces you to go 1 mile, you should go 2 miles with them. This idea of exceeding expectations or requirements is the basis for the idiom. Let's practice. To get a good grade, I knew I had to go the extra mile on this essay. She went the extra mile by hand-delivering the gift. Get something off your chest. If you need to get something off your chest, it means you need to express something that has been worrying, bothering, or troubling you for a while. This idiom's origin relates to the physical feeling of anxiety or unspoken burdens. When you're stressed or worried, you might feel a weight or tightness in your chest. Talking about it or confessing something is like removing that heavy feeling. How would you use this? Before we watch the game, I need to get something off my chest. I don't actually like football. If you're worried about something, you should talk to someone and get it off your chest. Spill the beans. Spill the beans means to reveal a secret or confidential information. One fun theory for its origin points to ancient Greece. Sometimes, voting was done by putting beans into a jar, maybe white beans for yes and black beans for no. If the jar was accidentally spilled before they could count, the results, the secret outcome, would be revealed prematurely. The beans were spilled. Let's practice this one. Tell me everything. Come on, spill the beans. My brother knows the surprise, but I told him he absolutely cannot spill the beans. Let the cat out of the bag, similar to spill the beans. When you let the cat out of the bag, you reveal a secret, often accidentally. Where did this strange idea come from? One popular theory takes us back to medieval markets. Imagine a dishonest seller trying to cheat someone by putting a common, cheap cat in a bag instead of a valuable little piglet. If the cat got out of the bag before the buyer left, the deception would be revealed. The secret was out. How about we practice using this one? Oh no! I accidentally let the cat out of the bag about the surprise party. My sister told me a secret, and I promised not to let the cat out of the bag. When pigs fly. This is a fun, sarcastic one. When pigs fly means something will never happen. It's a silly and fun expression. The image of a pig flying is so ridiculous and impossible that it's used to express extreme doubt or the absolute impossibility of something happening. Let's use this in a sentence. You think Sarah will give up coffee? That'll happen when pigs fly. You think I'll win the lottery? That will happen when pigs fly. Break a leg. So, break a leg means good luck. Yes, weird, I know. We especially use it right before someone is about to perform, like an actor going on stage, or maybe before a big presentation or an important test. Where does this come from? Well, there are a few ideas. But a really popular theory comes from the theater world. People were super superstitious and thought saying good luck out loud would actually bring bad luck. So they'd wish the opposite, hoping to trick any mischievous spirits hanging around. Break a leg might have also referred to bending your leg to bow at the end of a successful performance, or maybe even breaking the leg line, which was the boundary of the stage. Let's try and use this idiom in a sentence. Ready? My friend is auditioning for the play tonight. I told her to break a leg. Don't be nervous for your speech, just go out there and break a leg. Break a leg! Emma shouted to her brother as he walked on stage for the school play. Cost an arm and a leg. This one is easy. If something costs an arm and a leg, it is very, very expensive. Its origin is a bit debated, but a common idea links it to art. In the past, when people had their portraits painted, a portrait showing just the head and shoulders was cheaper than one showing more of the body, like arms and legs. So including the extra limbs literally cost more money. Another less cheerful idea relates to the high cost of losing limbs in war. How would you use this? I really want that new phone, but it costs an arm and a leg. We wanted to travel during the holidays, but the plane tickets cost an arm and a leg. Raining cats and dogs. Raining cats and dogs means it's raining very heavily. A sudden and strong downpour. It's a vivid and dramatic way to describe a storm, though of course it doesn't literally involve animals falling from the sky. In the 17th and 18th centuries, people used colorful language to describe storms. The phrase may have simply been a vivid metaphor, since cats and dogs were associated with chaos. Saying it's raining cats and dogs meant it's raining wildly and heavily. A less pleasant, but often mentioned theory relates to poor drainage in old streets in Old England. During heavy storms, animals like stray cats and dogs could be seen floating in flooded streets. People may have exaggerated and said, "It's raining cats and dogs," to describe how bad the weather and streets were. Let's try and use this idiom in a sentence. Ready? I can't go outside right now, it's raining cats and dogs. We had to cancel our picnic because it suddenly started raining cats and dogs. Cold feet. If you get cold feet, it means you suddenly become nervous, scared, or hesitant about something you had planned to do. Often something important like a wedding, a big performance, or a major decision. It's like losing your nerve at the last minute. Now, where does this idea come from? The exact origin is a little debated. Possibly from 1800s, soldiers who literally got cold feet in trenches, making them hesitant to fight. First literary use was in 1896. Let's try and use this idiom in a sentence. Ready? I was planning to ask for a promotion today, but I got cold feet at the last minute. He planned to move abroad, but he got cold feet at the airport and decided to stay. Don't get cold feet now. You've prepared so hard for this performance. Put all your eggs in one basket. If you put all your eggs in one basket, it means you're risking everything you have on a single plan, idea, or venture. You're relying on just one thing for success, without having any alternatives if that one thing fails. And where does this very sensible advice come from? This idiom has a pretty literal and practical origin, likely from farmers or people collecting and transporting eggs a long time ago. Imagine gathering all the eggs from your chickens and putting all of them into just one basket. It's convenient, sure. But if you drop that basket, or if the bottom falls out, you lose all your eggs. If you spread the eggs among several baskets, dropping one isn't a total disaster. This simple image became a perfect metaphor for not concentrating all your resources or hopes in a single place. Some sources even credit the famous novel Don Quixote from the 17th century with an early written use of this idea. Let's try and use this idiom in a sentence. Ready? I decided not to invest all my savings in just one stock. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. Applying to only one university felt too risky, so I applied to 5. I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket. Throw in the towel. To throw in the towel means to give up or quit, especially when you're facing a difficult challenge or are close to defeat. It's admitting you can't continue or succeed. This idiom comes directly from the sport of boxing. In a boxing match, if a fighter is getting seriously beaten or is unable to continue, their coach or corner person would literally throw a towel into the ring. This was a signal to the referee that they were stopping the fight and conceding defeat on behalf of their boxer. The image of the towel flying into the ring became a powerful symbol of surrender. Let's try and use this idiom in a sentence. Ready? Learning English is hard sometimes, but I won't throw in the towel. I was struggling with the final level of the game, but I decided not to throw in the towel and kept trying. Call it a day. When your brain feels like mashed potatoes and your hands won't cooperate anymore, it's time to call it a day. To call it a day means to decide that you have finished working for the day. You're stopping now. The origin is quite literal and practical. It simply means declaring the end of the work period for that day. Ready to practice this one? It's 5 p.m. and I'm tired. I think I'll call it a day. We finished all our tasks, so my team decided to call it a day early. Well, folks, we've come to the end of our idiom adventure for today. How fun was that? We've explored over 30 amazing English idioms, looked at their fascinating origins, and even practiced using them. I hope some of these gave you some new phrases to add to your vocabulary. Remember, learning idioms is a fantastic way to truly master English and sound more like a native speaker. It might feel difficult at first, but practice makes perfect. Don't throw in the towel if you find some tricky ones. Just keep your chin up and keep trying them out. The more you use them, the more natural they'll become. So if you enjoyed uncovering the secrets behind these colorful phrases, please give this video a big thumbs up. It would truly make my day. And if you want to keep expanding your English skills and join more language learning fun, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the boat on our next video. Thanks so much for watching, and keep up the great work with your English. You're doing amazing. See you next time. P.S. What's your favorite idiom from today's list? Write a sentence using it and share it in the comments below. I'd love to see them.